Ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Day Freedom Fest is proud to present to you our featured speaker of the evening, Donald Trump Jr.
Everyone having a good night? You guys ready for some fireworks? Well, guys, it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much for the support. We have like 53 days left. I'm losing track because I'm just on the road nonstop. I'm barely home anymore, but we're fighting for something that's worth it. We're fighting for our country, we're fighting for our freedoms, and we are fighting for our children. Now the media is going full time. They're going overdrive. They're gaslighting the American people. They're lying to you outright. They're covering up for Kamala Harris. Man, if I didn't know any better, I'd say she started her political career about 3 weeks ago. No, it's like she had no track record prior to all of this. I just saw a post that she put up today where she's going to go after and institute an assault weapons ban. Now, guys, I don't know about you. Could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I did watch the debate the other night, and I could have sworn that she very explicitly said that she wasn't coming after our guns. Now, she's a known gun grabber. She's had those policies for years. Let's just say David Muir didn't exactly fact-check her for this. But she said it to the American people. Probably hundreds of millions of them. She's not going to do it. Today, she puts up a post. That's what we're up against, folks. And they'll lie to you. No. They'll tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you to vote for her, to get your friends to maybe stay at home. It doesn't matter, and they've done it before. They do it each and every time. Remember the 2020 Democrat primary debates? Raise your hand if you're going to ban fracking and kill American energy and jobs and everything else. Every single person raised that hand on that stage, including Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. A couple weeks later, in the debate with my father in 2020, they realized, that wouldn't exactly work so well in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and other places. They said, no, we would never do that. We would never ban gas. We would never ban fracking. We'd never do any of those things. That would be insanity. The media told you that would be insanity. It said clearly they're not going to do it, even though they were all for it. We know that. And what they do on day one? Keystone Pipeline, first executive order, done. Tens of thousands of good, paying jobs for hardworking Americans, gone. Our energy independence, gone. Our national security that comes along with that, gone. What do we do instead? We import that oil and gas from Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terror, and Venezuela, a regime we didn't even recognize. That's how far they're willing to go. You saw just this last week in neighboring Ohio, in Springfield, where pets are now being grilled. Now, think about this. Guys, I think that I am just the star of the Truman Show. Remember that one? Please, hey, Bikers for Trump, blink 3 times if I'm the star of the Truman Show and people are just punking me. I'm waiting for TV cameras to fall out of the ceiling when I wake up in the morning. They have to be messing with me. And it's happening. People report it. The media says it's not happening, which is that's a week before, well, it's happening, but it's okay. That's 2 weeks from it's happening, but you should accept it. And it's like a month before it's happening, and if you don't accept it, you're a terrible human being and a racist. But it took a cat meme I mean, think about this. It took a cat meme to get people to pay attention to what's happening in real America. It took a cat meme to point out it's not that great to drop 20,000 often uneducated migrants into a town of 50,000. Right? It's not just the cats. That's what brought people's attention to it. What about the videos that we see each and every day? People begging their representatives, please, we can't afford to live here anymore because Blackstone bought up all the housing. Right? They put migrants in there, $250 a cot. Rents that were $1,300 a month now are $4,000. All for free, paid for courtesy of you. Congratulations, guys. You're doing wonderful things here. Then you see the videos of the people begging, I can't afford insurance anymore. Because what happens is, they put in 20,000 people who've never driven. They give them driver's license. They have one of the highest car accidents rates in the country. Almost all of it, I think it was 9 out of 10 was the stat that I had read. 9 out of 10 caused by the migrants they put into these towns. And you, man, with your perfect driving record, no speeding tickets, no accidents, guess what happens to your insurance premiums? They go way up. Not because of anything you did, but because you now live in a problem area. When you go to the hospital, you pay your monthly premiums, you're getting hosed on that. You pay your co-pays each and every time. You pay your deductibles. But many people, the deductible's so high, it's like you don't even have insurance unless you get hit by a bus and survive. You know, when you have an insurance deductible at $5,000, $10,000, that's not insurance. You get to pay all that. What do they pay? Nothing. They have no copay, they have no deductibles, they pay no premiums, but they can go to any hospital in the country and get free treatment. And it doesn't have to even be in network. Problems you all probably have to deal with. Again, paid for by you now, and because you're paying for it, your premiums are going to go through the roof as well. This is going on in America right now. You notice that they don't send the migrants to liberal areas, liberal cities. They only send them to the red states.
Voted.
You think that's on purpose, folks?
Absolutely.
They're not even pretending anymore. They don't even hide from it. Our schools oversaturated with, again, kids who can't speak English. That's terrible, but your kids shouldn't have to suffer for that. They shouldn't have to get a disastrous education and not be able to break out of the cycle of poverty. But again, with everything that we're up against, the forces that are going against us, $1 trillion in mainstream media, $1 trillion from big tech functioning simply as the marketing department of the radical left, that's not easy to overcome, folks. Our country right now is an embarrassment. Our enemies are laughing their asses off because we're destroying ourselves because of Democrat policy. And it's time to say enough is enough. When are we going to get sick of it, honestly? Now, I get that Taylor Swift isn't affected by a 25% increase in your grocery prices, 50% increases in your insurance. Yeah, guess what? She'll get on her plane, she'll do another couple 100 hours on the Global Express, she'll make another $1 billion. She doesn't get it. And guys, hey, I get it. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I'm not one of these liberals. My 2-month-old baby was crying about nuclear proliferation on the Korean Peninsula. It's disastrous. It's there. But you know what? I got 5 young kids. That's why I fight like this. We didn't need this. It was easier when we were real estate developers from New York and I used to get invited to the cool person parties, okay? But we don't have a choice. I tell a story because it's so telling. Again, It's not going to change my habits. I know who I am. I've been incredibly blessed. My father changed the skyline of New York and other cities in the country and the world. He built a great business. We've been sued to the wazoo with that. We owe $500 million to the state of New York for paying back loans on time and with interest. Still trying to figure that one out. They tried to impeach him. When that didn't work, they tried to take his businesses. When that didn't work, they tried to bankrupt him. And when that didn't work, they called him a Nazi long enough to radicalize a 20-year-old kid who magically has no social media footprint, no digital footprint whatsoever. And they managed to let a shooter have 20 minutes inside of 130 yards. You don't think that was created? You know, when you call someone Hitler long enough, that may happen, right? That's gonna happen. That was by design, it was on purpose, right? That's not a conspiracy theory.
They were training him.
That's the same level of conspiracy theory as like the Wuhan virus started in Wuhan, in the lab that studies the freaking virus. Because of course it did. All the conspiracies have been true. But I was saying, you know, last summer I came back from a fishing trip. I was there with my son Spencer and my son Donnie. They were 10 and 14 at the time. So big, not that big. It was me and them, and we went to McDonald's. And it was $48. No, but think about that. Like, guys, if Donald freaking Trump Jr. has sticker shock, if I'm like, shit, 48 bucks, that's expensive. Like, that's nuts. If Donald Trump Jr. is pissed off at McDonald's that it's too damn expensive, it's a problem, folks. Right? Taylor Swift isn't buying you your McDonald's or paying your grocery bills.
She started on her knees too.
We have to say enough, folks. Right? We have to vote with our common sense. We have to understand one thing, that this election's different. We've actually lived under both candidates and their policies. You had 4 years under Trump. He said he was going to do X, Y, and Z, and he did X, Y, and Z.
Yes, he did.
You've had 4 years under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. When were you better off?
Never.
We went from peace in the Middle East to war. We went from keeping dictators in check to having them invading their neighbors all over the world. We went from low inflation to ridiculous inflation. We went from low interest rates to ridiculous interest rates. We went from prosperity to poverty in 4 years. The media's running around now, you know, Kamala Harris, she's going to be the agent of change. I go, seriously? Like, she's been in power for 4 years. If she was going to change anything, she probably would have done it already. We know she's not going to actually change anything because just this week, even though she's been the presumptive nominee for like 2 months and the actual nominee for like a month, she just cut and pasted Joe Biden's policies, the Biden-Harris policies, and put him on her webpage. We know that because they didn't even bother to change the source code. She's plagiarizing from Joe Biden. How stupid do you have to be? Like, she's the agent of change. Guess what? Yeah, she's changed everything for the worse. But it's going to keep happening, guys. No, she's better. She's worse than Bernie. Let's be clear.
Yeah, but
Kamala Harris is rated and was rated the most leftist senator in the United States Senate, left of Bernie Sanders. That is a fact. Right? They're trying to say she's going to be a moderate. She's not a moderate. She's a radical San Francisco communist.
Yeah.
She's the daughter of a Marxist professor. She has the most liberal record in the United States Senate. That's not going to change. That would be like Donald Trump Jr. coming out and being soft. The apple doesn't ever fall that far from the tree, folks. If she would have changed something, she would have done it now. She has no intention of changing anything. But the media is going to tell you she's the agent of change. The media is going to tell you she's a moderate. They will tell you anything. Because they're not the ones that are going to get a bunch of migrants dumped in their backyard eating their pets. They're going to live behind their walls with armed guards, and they can do their virtue signaling while America goes to hell in a handbasket, while good, hard-working Americans suffer, while you become second-class citizens in your own country. That's a fact. Look at the stats. Look at what they get for free. Your taxes, they want to raise them through the roof so that everyone else can come to this country and you can pay for them. They may never learn the language. They may be incredibly low IQ. They may come with no skills. It doesn't matter because the Democrats have ostracized their traditional voting base. I didn't say it, folks. Yeah, listen, hey, I gotta be careful, right? Because with the media, we understand. I get it, guys. We've been told very clearly by CNN, MSDNC, the mainstream media. I get it. I am a terrible human being. I am not the upstanding citizen that Hunter Biden is. I mean, I get it. I know. Can you imagine if that was the Don Jr. laptop from hell? Do you think if that was my laptop and I'm there smoking crack? Like hundreds of, that guy smoked more crack than anyone. But it didn't stop China from giving him $1 billion. Think about that. The grandkids of Joe Biden are on China's payroll. They're making millions. They're like 5. We were actually international business people, and we were somehow agents of Russia for 5 years. I did 50 hours of congressional testimony for treason, a crime punishable by death. That's like my average Tuesday at this point. Kamala Harris isn't going to fix anything, folks. You know who's going to fix something? The guy that can take a bullet to the face and come back defiant and say, fight! 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 These days, everyone's a badass on the internet, right? Everyone's a tough guy behind a keyboard. I think Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone's gotten a little too comfortable talking shit but not getting punched in the face. But a real tough guy is someone that can take a bullet to the face and know to come back defiant. An interesting story about that day. That happened, and I was at the RNC a couple days later. It's a long day. I mean, it was. I actually got the unusual call. My 17-year-old daughter, you may have seen Kai. She spoke at the RNC later that week. She calls me, and this doesn't happen often from a 17-year-old girl. She said, "Dad, I want to go out on the boat and go fishing with you." I go, "What? Who are you, and what have you done with my daughter? What's going on here?" So we go out, and I get a call. Don, your father's been shot. And there's only degrees of bad when you get that phone call, right? That's not like good or bad. There's only degrees of bad, from like really bad to really bad to really, really, really bad, right? But we don't know. So, I told that guy, I said, Kai, we got to go. What happened? Well, Grandpa's been shot. She's not happy. She's just like golfing buddies. So Kai has spent more time with my dad probably than I have in my whole life. They play golf every weekend. I catch her talking on the phone. I think she's talking to like one of her high school friends. It sounds like kids gossiping for 20 minutes. I'm like, who was that? She goes, oh, that was Grandpa. I go, really? That was Grandpa for 20 minutes talking about like what? And so they had this great relationship. So she's all, flustered. I'm obviously flustered. Took us 90 minutes to even know that he was okay. By that time we got back in and we're, I guess the one thing Secret Service did right was I guess they shut off all the cell phone communications or whatever just in case there was IEDs or other attacks coming or whatever it was. And finally, by then I'd seen some of the videos on social and picks up the phone and finally get him and yeah, hey, I'm okay. I go, Dad, you're the biggest badass I've ever seen. That was insane. A couple more seconds, small talk, little conversation, and finally it was like, it's just so uncomfortable, right? That's a long time to wait to not know if you're dead or alive. And finally I just said, hey, Dad, most importantly, how's the hair? Done. The hair is fine. It's a little bloody, lot of blood going on, but the hair is fine, Don. So, listen, I can't help myself. It was true story, actually. I think Ivanka was on the phone like, Don, you're an idiot, but it was sort of the icebreaker we all needed, right? It's sort of like, that was like, hey, everything's okay, and sort of get that adrenaline dump. And it was that, that following Monday, that was obviously Saturday night. That Monday morning, Kai calls me up and she's like, Dad, I want to speak at the RNC this week. I'm like, wait, what? She's 17 years, she's a junior in high school, she's 17. I'm like, you want your first speech to be in front of 50,000 people? Like, I do this crap every day, it's fine. I'm used to it, it's different. So you want your first speech to be in front of 50,000 people live and 100 million on TV? She's like, I don't care, I have to do it. So I was like, okay, hold on, we're gonna go bump some governor. So I called my dad, I was like, listen, Guy just called me, she wants to speak at the RNC. Very serious about this. I was like, he talks to me, he's like, wow, that's a big one, you sure? I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I said. And he just thought about it for a second, he goes, you know what, that kid's a winner, she'll do great, let her do it. And she did. But guys, it's that spirit that we're fighting for. And I know, by the way, I know based on all the stats, I came from a long-range competitive shooting background, missing a 130-yard shot with 20 minutes to prep, that's like missing a 6-inch putt in golf, right? But when you see what's going on, when you see his head turn that way at that exact moment, I think someone else is looking out for us as well. So what we've got to do, guys, we have to fight like our lives and our futures depend on it, because they do. The other side has called us fascists and all these things for years, and yet they're the ones locking up their political enemies. They're the ones trying to jail them. They're the ones censoring free speech. They're the ones that want to implement the Ministry of Truth. They're the ones that are literally using the fascist playbook on a day-to-day basis. We have to overcome that. We've seen the disasters of the last 4 years. And I'm not just talking the economy or the wars or the this. Take the Afghan withdrawal. 13 incredible people. You saw what they tried to do to those families last week, right? They came out. The media tried to gaslight those families who were left there to die because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's abject stupidity and incompetence. They tried to go after the families, not the incompetents that haven't even bothered to say their names or call them. But that happened. And we saw it. And then we saw, we were told the adults were going to be back in charge. And we watched that disaster unfold. No accountability, no nothing. Joe Biden's checking his watch as he comes to greet those incredible Americans. And then the Secretary of State, the adults back in charge, gets on a world stage and says with a straight face that he is, and I quote, shocked and dismayed that the Taliban did not install a more diverse and inclusive government in Afghanistan. I'm thinking, if you want to be dismayed, fine, but you're shocked that the Taliban, we've been at war with these people for 20 years. They throw homosexuals off buildings. They've doused journalists with fuel and lit them on fire. What, you thought there was going to be like a freaking trans coalition or something, you know? They're going to have Dylan Mulvaney at the Taliban parliament talking about trans rights. I mean, these are people that have put women and children into sexual slavery. They won't let them read or educate themselves. But they're shocked that they're not more diverse and inclusive. I mean, these are not serious people. And it's that kind of leadership. It's why Vladimir Putin's endorsing Kamala Harris. Vladimir Putin's smart enough to know that a weak America is good for Russia. A weak America is good for China. Our enemies love the idea of word salad Kamala Harris in charge because they know the incompetence will just be spending your money on garbage, on crap. She wanted to give transgender surgeries to illegals that are in prison for free, paid for courtesy of you. I mean, think of it. These are the things they care about. These are their hills to die on. It has to stop. We need you, all of you, to be involved. I have a feeling if you're here, you're already talking, you're voting, I know that. But we need you calling your friends across the country, especially in the swing states. Make sure they know where to register to vote. You heard a gentleman speaking about all of the things that we can do these things. Vote early, get after it. Don't wait for like a rainy day on election day and then people get lazy and they stay home. Call all your friends. If I can go around the country for 100 days straight doing this stuff, you guys can call 100 friends. Make sure they're registered. Make sure they're checking their registration. Make sure they're calling 100 friends. Together we can win this. But it's not going to be easy. They're not going to play fair. We know that. To win by 1, we got to win by 5. We can't let a single vote go by the wayside. We can't have apathy. We can't have indifference. They're trying to demoralize you, both economically, with cancellation across the board. They want you to sit at home. They want you to think there's no chance. There's a chance, guys. People get it. You notice how, like, cancel culture isn't the thing it was 2 years ago? Because people are sick of the bullshit. Yes, we can. So for the next 53 days, guys, we need all hands on deck. We need to fight like Trump's going to fight for you. We are never, ever going to quit. But we can't do it alone. They've shown us that. They've shown us that they can cancel the most powerful man in the world. If that doesn't work, they'll try to jail him. And if that doesn't work, they'll try to bankrupt him and take his assets. You don't think they're going to do it to you if they have a chance? You think that, hey, we got rid of Trump, things are going to go back to normal? No. If they can do it to the most powerful guy in the world, if they can do it to a billionaire who has the ability to fund the legal battles to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, a guy that has a platform probably like no other, a voice like no other, if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. And if they will do it to him, they'll do it to all of you. Understand that, folks. We all have to be in the game. We all have to be pedal to the metal. Everything is at stake. Everything is on the table. Our rights, our liberties, our freedoms, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, all of the amendments. They will get rid of all of them if they can. They're trying as we speak. Right? The Ministry of Truth and the other stuff they want to censor. Who do you think when they put in their Ministry of Truth, when they start saying, who do you think is going to be the arbiter of truth? Do you think it's going to be someone reasonable? No, it's going to be one of the communists. That's what we're up against, folks. I do this because I have 5 young kids and I want them to live in an America that we all recognize, and that's not where we're headed right now. We have one chance left. We're used to that, right? Every politician you've ever heard, they're running for dog catcher. It's the most important election in the history of elections. This time it really is. Because they're not pretending anymore. They're not hiding anymore. We see the policies. We've seen how bad they are for the last 4 years. We've seen how quickly you can go from prosperity to poverty. That's all on them. Everyone needs to be engaged. Everyone needs to be in the game. Everyone needs to go 100% through the election. Are you guys with me on this one? Are we going to win? Then get after it, because our country is worth it, our Constitution is worth it, our freedoms are worth it, and our children are worth it. And we better leave them in America that they can love and recognize. Thank you, Kentucky. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eric, for putting on these great events. You guys are the best. Thank you.